Guten Morgen, Klasse. Today we are going to talk about stream. Some of you like to misspell stream. You think you want to spell it S-T-R-E-E-M. And that is not how you're going to spell stream. You are going to spell it S-T-R-E-A-M. And if you remember in a previous video, I talked about creek or crick. And I said that it could be like a small stream. So if you had a stream that runs through your farm, a stream is probably narrow in its width. It may be, I mean, it can flow for sure, but it's probably not, it's certainly not like a river. If we were going to compare a river against a stream will be much wider. It'll have much more force. The water will have much more force as it's flowing. A creek or a crick, for most of us, we would probably understand that to be a smaller river, and then a stream would be an even smaller version of that, a smaller version of a creek. So S-T-R-E-A-M, and that is essentially water that runs like down a mountain, through a farm, maybe through a pasture, wherever it runs. Out on the prairie, a stream might run through the prairie, and if you have a little house that's out on a prairie, you might have a stream nearby. Don't build your house too close to the stream, because in the springtime, when all the snow melts and all the rainfall, the melting of the snow that starts to come down into the streams, it fills the streams up, and then things start to flood. So you don't want your house right next to the stream unless you want your house to get flooded out. And if you're from the Midwest, you understand this, because you often have rivers and streams and creeks that rise, and when those levels rise, it starts to flow sometimes down your street, sometimes into your yard. Stream, S-T-R-E-A-M, it is a small, narrow body of water that flows. All right, so that's one. Another meaning for us in the 21st century, this meaning did not necessarily exist before we now started to stream music. So some of you youngsters, I miss the days when I used to even be able to use examples from movies in the 90s. Can't even do that no more because the kids haven't seen them. So for some of you youngsters, if you look through your parents' garage, or maybe some closet somewhere that's all full of stuff, you might find records which they would have called albums. You might find the small 45. Those would be the 33 RPMs for the most part. The 78 RPMs are there in your grandparents'. Maybe you youngsters, your great-grandparents' closets, maybe your parents inherited the 78s. The 33 RPMs were pretty standard. They would have about 5 songs on each side. And then a lot of people had the small 45 RPMs. It used to cost you $1 or $2, and that had 2 songs, 1 song on each side. That's how we used to get our music. Then we went to cassette tapes. Yes, I remember in the 70s we had 8-track tapes for a little while. In fact, my uncle used to play 8-track tapes when we would go camping. And guess what was in the area where we would go camping? A stream or a creek, and sometimes a river, depending on where we went camping. And but anyway, so we would have cassette tapes. Then we went to CDs to get our music, and then we started stealing music from Napster. Don't steal music. Napster don't exist no more, I don't think. Maybe, no, at least in its original form, it don't exist. I like to say it don't exist, but if we were doing correct English, we would say it does not exist, or it doesn't exist. At least not in the original form of stealing. Not stealing, sharing. We used to share. Now you get your music streamed to you by subscribing to a streaming service, right? So whatever platform you subscribe to, you're going to get your music streamed to you. And sometimes we refer to that for movies as well, right? Or TV shows, we might stream movies. In the old days, we used to have our movies on video cassettes, either beta or VHS. And then we went to DVDs, and then we went to Blu-rays, And now we all spent thousands of dollars to own all of those things, and most of us don't use them anymore. There goes our thousands of dollars. You can go find them at thrift stores all over the place. Not the machines to play them, but you can find the actual machine, the discs, and maybe they're in their cover too. So that's a different way to stream, right? So you could stream your music, and you might hear it as I'm streaming my music. But we would never use streaming for the flow of water, so we wouldn't say the creek is streaming downstream. That is not a way we would say it. So those of you who are ESL students, interpreters, translators, other students that want to just learn English, or college professors that are listening to me and knowing that I'm helping your students learn how to write, we would not say the body of water was streaming through the meadow. No, that's not how it goes. So in any case, the pronunciation of it is stream. I am not familiar with any other pronunciations. I'm even trying to think of different accents, and I don't know how else we would say stream. But if you know how else you would say stream, using stream, not synonyms, put that in the comments below, because I always love to know where you're from to find out the way you pronounce the words. And then also, if you enjoy these videos, go ahead and hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe. I do try to put one of these out a week. And not only should you be learning how to use these words in your when you're writing for your papers, you also want to know how to use the terms when you're just conversing with your friends. So that's why when ESL students, when you're talking with your friends, hopefully these videos will help you, because you don't even have to focus in on the words that I'm focusing in on. Just focus in on how I talk. And if you talk as good as I do, talk good like me, is that right? Yeah, the English teachers won't like that. But if you talk good, your friends will like you. All right, and maybe they'll take you to a picnic out by a stream. Hit subscribe. Feel free to make some comments. Hit the like button. I don't know. Share it away. And I will see you again in the next video.